Well, I just saw The Final Reckoning, the final installment in the Mission Impossible franchise. And instead of making a dedicated video to that film, I didn't have too much to say because I was kind of disappointed by it, but I didn't hate it. So instead, I decided just to do a ranking tier video on all the Mission Impossible films because, like many people, I really love this entire franchise. I grew up with it. Certain movies I have a lot of nostalgia for, which I'll get into. So I saw every single film in preparation for Final Reckoning. So yeah, I'd rather spend my time doing this and talking about all of them instead of just talking about Final Reckoning. So when I get to the Final Reckoning, I'll give my short review. But for now, let's get on to the tier list. Alrighty, let's start with the first Mission Impossible from 1996, directed by Brian De Palma. To no surprise, that has to be perfection. That has to go to the top. That's just such a great film. It started the whole thing. I haven't seen the original show, so a part of me wishes to watch at least a little bit of it just to like really understand the callbacks from that first movie. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the mask, like I'm sure that's a big part of it. And obviously the theme and the espionage mystery element. And I think that's what really stands out from the first film. Is that first film really feels like noir. That first film feels really like mystery, and it's almost like a political thriller, and I just really like that first movie like many people, and it holds up. It really does. Aside from certain special effects, the film really holds up. It's a really tight script, a really engaging film. Tom Cruise is incredible, as in all films, and I just want to get that out of the way so I don't have to say that every single film. Tom Cruise is incredible. He is honestly an underrated actor. I think people just focus these days on his stunts, and I feel like he is always extremely believable in every role. In every Mission Impossible film, he's completely selling it. Like, he's giving it his all, and I think Tom Cruise sucks you into these movies, and he really helps with that verisimilitude. He helps you believe everything. So yeah, great movie. I think the worst part of the movie is the female character. I always forget her name. She's just there to be sexy, and I just think she's not a very good actress. She kind of looks like Ana de Armas, honestly. And yeah, I just think she's the weakest part of that film, but the film is so good and so strong that I still think it deserves a spot in the perfection. Now, Mission Impossible 2. Bad. Recently, when I rewatched it, I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. I hadn't seen it since I was like freaking 10 or something. And I was wondering, like, certain movies, the film community has an opinion, and it's easy to just go with the crowd, right? And I was just like, I wonder, was it really that bad? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna rewatch it and be like, you know what? It's like the prequel hate. Like, people were just, like, maybe it was just a weird thing, but that doesn't make it so bad, you know? And yeah, like 10 minutes into the film, I was like, my God, this is so cringe. Like, the tone completely shifts. It's like a 180 from the first movie. It's so different. It's like I feel like the movie embodies the 2000s in the worst way possible. And I love the 2000s. I have a lot of nostalgia for a lot of films and cultural movements in the 2000s, but I feel like this embodies the worst parts of it. Just the slow motion, the over dramatic like camera movements, his freaking Tom Cruise's hair flowing everywhere while like staring into the camera with a smoldering look. Yeah, that movie's so cringe. And there's good action, of course. That kind of goes without saying again. Um, it's cool to see a lot of those motorcycle scenes that you see at Tom Cruise, but you do see a lot of stunt scenes. Like, you could just tell that's a stunt man. I just don't care for that romance. I don't care for that entire plot line. I don't think that was a really good plot device to use her, and just all of it was so unnecessary. And clearly the director or the studio, whoever made that the main plot, they tried to make us care for the mission in a personal level by making Ethan Hunt more romantically involved, but I just think they did it the wrong way, and the movie's pretty damn cringe. And I will say Hans Zimmer's score is pretty good in it. Oh, and one thing I will say, the love interest, she's freaking hot. I will say that. Rewatching it, I was like, oh my God, I don't remember being in love with you, but holy crap, she's a beautiful woman. Now, Mission Impossible 3. Perfection. I have a lot of nostalgia. That's the one where I have so much nostalgia for that film. And upon a rewatch, I'm like, I don't know, dude. I feel like most people don't really talk about this film, but to me, I mean, it's great. To me, it holds up. It's such a good film. It's funny, as a huge Star Wars fan, as someone who does not like the sequels, I couldn't help but be like, you know what, J.J. Abrams directed this. Like, maybe the movie actually sucks. I was looking back at MI3 with the lens of J.J. Abrams, how I view him now. But no, dude, the movie holds up. The movie's really, really good. J.J. Abrams did a great job. Philip Seymour Hoffman is an amazing actor, of course, but an amazing villain, and I think he's one of the best villains in the entire franchise. And the movie just so clearly took a very hard turn in tone and in story because of the last movie. And I think it was a pretty smart idea to make Ethan Hunt married. And of course, there's some plot holes in that, like why would this guy be married and whatever, you know. Like, obviously, I get it, but you kind of have to like look past that with a Mission Impossible film. It's not that important, and I think that she's more than like a plot device, and I think she's handled well in that film. And the action's great. The team is pretty good. I don't think the team's incredible. Later on with Benji, Jeremy Renner, is Ilsa Faust, I think Luthor. I think that's a really good team that obviously has reoccurring roles. But in MI3 with these characters and the introduction of Benji, of course, I think the team works really well. It's really entertaining, really funny, really intense. I think, like I said, Philip Seymour Hoffman as the villain just adds a whole layer. And I always thought the rabbit's foot not being exactly explored was kind of a cool idea, a good call, you know? And well, if you've seen Final Reckoning, you know it comes back, which is cool. Yeah, I love that movie. Solid Mission Impossible film. And again, like, I don't know if the movie gets hate. I just really don't hear people give opinions on that movie, which makes me feel like, do people not like it, or I don't know, but I love that movie. Ghost Protocol. I think I have to go with great. So again, nostalgia, you know, like I haven't really rewatched these movies in a long time. I saw MI3 a lot growing up, but in terms of like adulthood and like later teenage years, like I haven't really rewatched them. I just saw them when they came out in theaters. And I remember thinking this whole time, like, Ghost Protocol is one of the best. It's one of the best. And upon rewatch, I don't view it with that same reverence, I guess. It's still really good. It's definitely one of the better ones. And if this is like your favorite film, I wouldn't fault you for it. Like, I don't think the movie has serious problems or anything. I think it's a really good film. This film obviously was a turning point in the franchise because this is when Tom Cruise did the big stunt outside the biggest building in the world in Dubai. And obviously that was like a cultural shift. That movie has a lot of like cultural significance too at the time. That trailer with Eminem's song, like, I still think about that trailer. It's an awesome trailer. Yeah, it's a great film. I like the storyline with Jeremy Renner. I think the weakest part of this film is the villain. A little bit of the teen dynamics, that the new addition of that other female. It's weird. I think she's attractive. I don't have problems with her character. I think she adds to the team, like, but for some reason I just don't really care for her. I don't know. Maybe it's just, I think she's a good actress, but she's not charismatic. So, like, I don't feel an attachment to her. I don't know. But I think the weakest part is absolutely the villain, because even though the stakes are high objectively, I don't feel the stakes in this film. So I think that's what kind of brings it down for me, because all the other ones I do feel like I'm completely immersed and I'm completely there with the characters. Rogue Nation. Perfection. I'll do my actual ranking after. But spoiler alert, that's my favorite Mission Impossible film. I love that movie. I think it's truly perfection. I think it's the best one in terms of in everything, in story, in characters. Rebecca Ferguson, absolutely in love with her. She blew my mind when I first saw it, and rewatching it, I'm like, oh my god. I remember, like, yeah, absolutely fell in love with her, and she's a great actress, of course. I just think that the movie starts off really intense. It's more than just subverting expectations, because obviously it happens a couple times already in the franchise where it's like everyone's against Ethan, or he's being framed, or he's going rogue. Like, there's always, that's happened before, you know. But the way this one goes, it just feels differently. The stakes just get elevated, and I just feel like the way IMF gets infiltrated, like, you just feel the gravity of the situation immediately. And there's like a different tone. None of them get too dark. They all keep that same light, fun spy adventure film, you know. They all keep that tone. But this film just starts off in a different way where you just feel it personally, And I think it has some of the best action sequences. I mean, or not the best, my favorite ones. That motorcycle sequence, love. And then the car sequence, love. And then the diving when he's underwater, holy crap. And obviously, the film starts with that crazy sequence when he's hanging off the side of the plane. And I like how this film, I'll probably talk the most about this one. I like how this film kind of has like a bit of a Civil War vibe in Marvel films. Just like how in Civil War, the looming theme or the looming event is from the events of Age of Ultron. Everything that happened, and that's why the Sokovia Accords have to be a thing, And I like how, there's obviously consequences, and there's an aftermath. And I like how this film is dealing with the aftermath of Ghost Protocol, and how the CIA director, I believe, right, Alex Baldwin's character, how he's taking IMF to court and he's trying to disband this group, and just all this. And I like how even though Jeremy Renner's not involved with the main mission, his storyline is still important, and it's important on so many levels. So I just feel like the script is really tight. It's really intricate and complex without being exposition heavy, which is a big problem I have with the later films. So yeah, Rogue Nation, absolutely love that movie, and it totally holds up, and yeah, it's my favorite one. Now Fallout, again, just like Ghost Protocol, I'm gonna put in great, and same thing, same situation there, where when I saw it and like during recent years, I was like, this is the best movie, and in the rewatch, I'm like, okay, maybe not so much, but still great. Henry Cavill's great. Rewatching it, I'm like, damn, I feel like the plot twist of him being the villain is so obvious. And I guess it's not necessarily a bad thing, but incredible action. Again, love the motorcycle chase, the car chase. It's very similar. I think that's probably why I don't feel mind blown by this film, because it's kind of similar to Rogue Nation in terms of action set pieces. But of course, the ending, the planes, the helicopters, him climbing the rope, all that, very intense. Love it. I have that movie in 4K. That's the only one I have in 4K, and I love how the aspect ratio expands during that last sequence, just like watching a Nolan film. And I hope more films do that, because I just love seeing the full screen on my TV. Yeah, really good film. Stakes are high. I think because of the villain, he carries over from Rogue Nation. He just is a great villain, and I think you feel the stakes absolutely. And the music's really good. There's a scene where he's standing on top of the building where he lost essentially, and I feel like the score is just blaring, and the camera movements are circling him, and I love that movie. It's a really epic scene. I think my only complaints with this movie is just a little bit of script things, like a little too much exposition. The story's kind of all over the place, and yeah, it's not a big complaint, but it just feels slightly off, and that's why I can't say it's perfection for me. But yeah, another great film. Now, Dead Reckoning, I'm gonna go with good. When I first saw this, I remember being very disappointed, and I remember thinking that it was one of the worst ones, and I just saw it once in theaters, and during the rewatch I was like, okay, this is actually a lot better than I remember, but I still think it's one of the lesser ones. Just because, and this kind of, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and do Dead Reckoning right now. The problems I have with each film kind of informs each other in a way. So I'm gonna put Dead Reckoning as aight. I think it's a solid mid film. Yeah, which kind of sucks, obviously I love this franchise. I grew up with it, so I wanted this to be a banger. And yeah, I'm pretty disappointed by it. I've only seen it once, so I'm open to seeing it again and possibly having a different opinion. But as of right now, this is my opinion. I just feel like there's way too much exposition in these films, and especially Final Reckoning. So much exposition, and I feel like the film, in a way, it's a compliment. But I did not realize the film was almost 3 hours. But I do feel like everything is drawn out in this film. The action set pieces are great, the best parts of the film, but they do feel very long, and very, very long. It almost feels like the action could have been shortened a little bit, and the exposition could have been shortened. And in general, I just feel like the use of AI is an awesome idea, and I love that concept of this being the ultimate villain, especially in this spy intelligence world. Because at the end of the day, the IMF is intelligence. They're about gaining intelligence, and there being an AI villain is like the perfect ultimate villain. But I just feel like the way it's utilized, especially in The Final Reckoning, I do think it's a little weaker. I feel like if Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise maybe focused too much on the action, and I feel like that dictated the story, which that's a problem. I think the story should be dictated by characters and by the real actual story you want to tell. So yeah, like that's why I think Dead Reckoning is a little better, because I do think it's a lot tighter. I do think you feel the gravity more, and it's more engaging, and the movie flows better. Like it's just all around, it flows a lot better, less exposition. And I think the way they utilize AI is creative. Information is being changed, and how when you're relying on your scanners, everything is digital now, and how the AI is giving you false information, and how when you're looking at security cameras, it's erasing people in real time. And that speaks a lot to the modern era with deepfake, and you just can't even tell, like, is this a real person talking or is this fake? So all that was really cool. I wish that would have been elevated in The Final Reckoning, and it wasn't. It was more so just normal Mission Impossible stuff. Like Ethan Hunt needs to steal something, so he needs to go underwater. He needs to go on the outside of a plane. He needs to do something crazy. Like, I don't know, maybe it's, again, like maybe some people will like this, like, oh, well, what do you expect? It's Mission Impossible. But I just feel like for it being an AI villain, I would have expected the mission to be slightly different, and for it to really push Ethan and his team, because they've never gone up against something like this. And I just didn't feel like the movie and the mission was different than other ones, too different, which again is a letdown for me. And I just feel like, again, there's a ton of exposition in the last film, and I just think that's a big problem for me. I know I'm saying like exclusively complaints. What I will say about The Final Reckoning is that somehow the movie ends in a good way. Like somehow it tied it all together in a way where I still felt like, okay, like this felt good, and in a weird way. It's and I think that helps a lot, when an ending feels good, especially for a conclusion. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel like, oh, that's so dumb, or I didn't feel like that's it. And I think a big part of it, which this is maybe a cop out, but at the same time it is what it is. But I feel like the fact that we all know these stunts are real adds to the engagement. And I just feel like if Tom Cruise's brand wasn't doing his own stunts, and if we just knew this is CGI, I think that would seriously affect how I view the movie. I think I would view these action sequences as like, okay, moving on. Or like, did we need to spend that much time on this? Or like, that was so unnecessary. You could have just done this. You could have just done that. But I feel like because I know this is all very practical, it adds to the engagement, because you're just like, how is Tom Cruise doing this, right? So I don't know. Like does that make the movie worse, or is it just like, well, that's how good the movie is, because I like they inform each other. So I don't know how to view that exactly, but it almost feels like they had such an opportunity to utilize AI, and it felt a little safe and uninspired. But at the same time, because it was so safe, I think that's why the ending feels good, and that's why it's a very feel-good ending, triumphant almost. So that's good, but obviously I would have wanted to go out with a bang. I would have wanted the ending to just feel like this is an incredible franchise, and like look at what they achieved, and the movies just got better, because up until Dead Reckoning, that's what it felt like. It felt like every movie was just getting better and better and better. And unfortunately, that didn't carry on. So I think all in all, it's a good conclusion, but it's definitely disappointing, and I think it's one of the weaker ones. Now, let me just shift this a little bit. Well, actually, I don't think I need to change too much, actually. I'm just going to put Rogue Nation in the first slot. Just because of a subjectivity, nostalgia, I'm going to put MI3 before the first one. And everything else stays the same. Obviously, reading from left to right, So yeah, Rogue Nation number 1, MI3 number 2, Mission Impossible 1, Ghost Protocol, you get it. Yeah, let me know your ranking. I would love to know your favorites, your least favorites, your maybe unpopular opinions. Maybe you think MI2 is like the best one. Maybe you have nostalgia for that movie, and you're just like, dude, like I get it, it sucks, but like I love this cheese, I love, because it kind of leans into like the James Bond sexy action popcorn flick, That's not for me, so it's definitely the worst one. All right, well, now I'm rambling. Let me know your favorites, and thanks for watching.